So, the NFL postseason's first round is officially done, as Monday Night Football brought the conclusion to a super blah wild card weekend, as the LA Rams just take the lunch money of the Minnesota Vikings. We are going to do, coming up here in a little bit, the offseason preview of the eliminated teams in the National Football League, and Minnesota is definitely going to be on there. So we're going to save a bit more of the Minnesota talk for that, but just for this recap portion, holy hell, Sam Darnold has cost himself quite a lot of money over the last few weeks. Now, I don't think he's cost himself as much as he made himself in the first, we'll say 14 weeks of the NFL regular season, but it all fell apart for him. And the difficult thing is now, this was a perfect situation for him, and one where the Vikings, I don't know what you can add, where it's well, now we got it figured out, because you're probably losing the coach who was the mastermind behind that whole defensive scheme that was a big part of getting this team here. And Justin Jefferson probably isn't going to get more awesome to a point where it makes life easier on a quarterback. Addison probably will. There will be guys who will get better, but I don't know how you get a situation that is better than this. And I don't know how it got so bad so quickly, because they were just uncompetitive in this game. And you look at it, and it kind of hinged a little bit where the tide could have shifted, where Stafford fumbles that ball, Minnesota scoops and scores, all of a sudden it's a 10-10 game. It was very clearly an incomplete pass, so it's not the ref screwed the Vikings for this LA story. That wasn't it. But it just that could have shifted things a little bit. But I just, at no point was there this wake up hey, this has to be better. It kind of felt like Sam Darnold, I think, is a talented quarterback. But I do think there is a ceiling on it. And we saw him just absolutely ram into that line over the last little bit. And so things really did fall apart. Toxic assing. Sam Darnold is coming back to the Vikings? No, right? My initial gut reaction would be no. I don't think he is coming back to the Vikings. I think that they are going to maybe roll the dice on another veteran quarterback and hope that J.J. McCarthy comes back all healed up, and an extra year of maturing is all that he needs to be a star in this league. But I think that instead of going out and spending $50 million or whatever it's going to take on Sam Darnold, and it's probably closer to 30 now, instead of going out and spending that on him, they will much rather, Russell Wilson for 3 again, and we'll have McCarthy go, and we'll be able to fill out some other spots that way. But the main focus of this right now should be the LA Rams, because I need to stop doubting this team. When it is rolling offensively, it is so good. They have talent, they have incredible coaching, and they have phenomenal execution. I really enjoy watching this team, and this is one of the lessons that I need to learn from this year. We always, going into every NFL season, we do an accountability episode. Maybe I need to do a lessons episode at the end of every season now too, because the lesson here, I was down on the Rams this season because you lose Aaron Donald, your defense should be worse, and it's not better, but it's a fine defense. But my thought was, you have Cooper Kupp gets banged up all the time. Kyron Williams is a running back, and just by default, they get banged up all the time. And Matthew Stafford is old, and so he's going to get a little bit banged up. And so that the injuries are going to build up, and this team isn't going to be all that good. And some of that actually played out, but they were still able to survive and still able to get through. And so I just had it in my head, this team isn't very good. And what I should have had is, this team could run into some problems, but as constructed, they are good. Because as constructed, this is a good football team. And it is a really, really exciting one to watch. And I think they present some interesting challenges for the Philadelphia Eagles this week. And we're going to do a little bit later on in this stream, and for those either watching on YouTube later or listening in podcast form, tomorrow there's going to be another upset special episode. How can the underdogs pull off an upset? And I think this one is kind of clear. This defense is pretty good, and offensively they can move the ball very, very well. You have a well-rounded attack, again, with Nakua, with Kupp, with the Higbeast. You have Kyron Williams, who is a beast as a running back, and a coach and a quarterback who are just in sync. So there is a very real possibility that there is an upset special this weekend for the LA Rams, who just continue to get the job done and continue to add to the amazing ness that is Sean McVay and the incredible second act here of Matthew Stafford's career. And just something I'm thinking about here. I feel like for a lot of people, like right now, Andy Reid is the best coach in the NFL. We all agree on this, right? No arguments? Cool, great. Andy Reid, best coach in the NFL right now. Now, if I had Patrick Mahomes, maybe whatever, but he got a lot out of a lot of guys before that. I think a lot of people would say Kyle Shanahan was the second best coach because of some of the successes and stuff that he has had. And maybe I just held on to something for too long, but I think Sean McVay has very easily worked his way. Like, he was always in that top tier, kind of that Mount Rushmore of coaches in the NFL. I kind of think Sean McVay's second best coach in the NFL, and he is making a hell of a charge to be the number one guy in this league. And we all know the just almost obsessive way that he looks at this sport, but he is doing just a masterful job with this team. And there is, again, I think a bigger roster construction conversation to be had about this team and how they have gone about building this particular version of them, kind of post Super Bowl. It has been very fascinating to watch. But now the second round is set, and hopefully it's a better round than what we just had, because this was a bit of a dud. And there is a bit of hypocrisy on my part, because we had just a dog shit first round in the college football playoff, and then I come on here and it's like, well, the fix is obvious, just get rid of the first round. Just teams 1 through 8, let's go. And I'm not saying, well, you know what, we only need 6 teams in or 4 teams in the in each division. I will say, the reason they added it is obvious, right? You add an extra playoff team, which gives you an extra playoff game, which gives you mucho dinero for years and years and years to come. So the reason they added it was obvious. It was money. But that 7th playoff team has just, like, there is no value add for the consumer at all. Like, it didn't add anything postseason wise. The Broncos got just mollywopped. The Packers, everyone got hurt, so their game wasn't all that interesting anyway. And also, it kind of took away from those playoff races. Like, there was no competition for that number 7th spot. We knew who the playoff teams were going to be, going with the exception of division winners in a couple of instances. We knew who the playoff teams were going to be, and so it kind of took away from the playoff race as well. So you have made a number of games mean so much less just to add a couple more playoff games to add some money to you. And again, this is probably a summer podcast, but I do wonder if we're going to get to a part where the bubble bursts, where it's just, well, we just need more. We need more playoff games in MLB. We need more playoff games in the NFL, more playoff teams. We need a week 18. Okay, does any of this make any of this better? Well, no, but we just need more content so we can sell more stuff, so we can do this, so we can do this, so we can do this. I just feel at some point that bubble is going to burst. Right? At some point, that dam is going to break, and you're going to have to understand that more isn't always better. And the problem is, then that trickles down on the consumer as, oh, well, you only want to add NBA, you only want to have 64 games, fine. The cost of tickets goes up 15% now to offset that cost. So I'm bringing up a problem without offering much of a solution, but it is just so frustrating to see how this all plays out. But hopefully now we get into a second round that is a little bit more enjoyable going forward, because that, for the most part, sucked this weekend.